All right, so welcome to another episode of Real Talk Podcast, where we explore the myriad ways to make money in real estate. I'm especially interested in agents, both for mortgages and real estate sales that are in this business, and just kind of see how they got started, how they grew, and what they do with their money when they're successful. So I'm really excited. I have Sandi Parkhurst, right?
Yes.
Sandi Parkhurst here today, All Western Mortgage in Reno. Figured I'd stop by and we'd chat and just kind of see how she's doing. So thanks for being on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So Sandi, why don't you, let's just start by talking about how you got into, how does one get into loan originating, being a loan officer?
Yeah, well, nobody grows up thinking, I really want to be a mortgage officer when I grow up. So it really was a fluke. I graduated a few years prior and was really looking for a career with some challenge and some room for growth. And so I worked at a startup, and then my startup didn't start up right at the beginning of COVID. So, and everyone was getting laid off. So I was like, what am I going to do now? Kind of freaking out. And then through one of my connections through networking and a board that I was on connected me with my now loan partner. And so I had a call with her, and I just loved her straightforward attitude, and I just fell in love with her in general. But she was like, okay, here are the pros, here are the cons. Call me if you're interested. So I thought about it, and as someone who's always been interested in real estate since I was a little kid, like that I did know I wanted to do when I was little. I wanted to have rental properties. It just kind of made sense, and I went for it.
Right on. So what did you study in school?
Business management with a Spanish minor.
Okay. And then you got into the startup space.
Yes. So, and for that company, it was a consulting company, and I was doing more of like marketing and admin.
Okay. So were you a partner in it, or you just kind of got in as an employee on the ground floor type of thing?
Yeah, I was not a founding employee, but I was one of the first 5 employees, and the only 5. So it was a great experience. I'm still really close with my teammate there, our chief operating officer. She's amazing and has her own company that's now thriving here in Reno. But it was a really good learning experience, and definitely had a lot of potential, but that particular venture wasn't meant to be. So.
Didn't quite work. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you got into you knew someone in the mortgage space. I feel like that's how most people get into it. Mm-hmm. Just know someone there, and they're like, wow, that sounds attractive, especially financially. Right. So you got into it here at All Western?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked the pros that she had mentioned were, you get to help people, you get to be creative, and you can possibly make a lot of money. And I was like, well, those all sound great. So let's go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So you first get in. So what was, day one and week one like?
Yeah. So I studied at home for about a month to get my license. Mm-hmm. And then throughout that time, I started shadowing. And then when I actually started working, I was just shadowing, breathing over Shawnee's shoulder, day in and day out for months. And it was during 2020, rates were super low. We were doing refis like crazy. So I just started on refinances, and, my pipeline was growing, but I was just shadowing and learning and soaking it all in. And it's amazing how much you don't learn when you get your license. It's a huge on-the-job training. Yeah. And so I'm thankful for a really supportive training, and now I know a lot, and I feel very confident helping my clients with their different options and being able to really advocate for them or educate them and help them through a very confusing process.
Yeah. So refinances are kind of like icing on the cake in this industry, right? Like it could be once a decade or two that a really strong refinance opportunity comes through. What was it like how did you build out your sales business, purchase business?
Yeah, it's that's a great question, because I was so busy with refinances in the beginning that it wasn't really necessary to work on that other part. But we've always on this team had a strong support service system for our referral partners. So we've always hosted events and taught classes, and we do a ton of content to help our agents and our referral partners grow their business. I just really started the old-fashioned way with calling and DMing realtors and agents to connect with them and then help them with their business. And then On top of that, I started doing the content to go directly to consumer for education purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But that has been huge, building a brand and being able to go directly to consumer has just been huge in helping me grow my business as well.
It's really nice when you focus on the consumer facing side of things, and you can provide leads to your referral partners too, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. It's a game changer.
So where would you say most of your business comes from at this point?
At this point, it's mostly through referral partners still. With a good mix of word of mouth, family, friends, and then social media, online leads as well.
I've seen your social media too. What's your Instagram handle?
Sandi Parkhurst.
Sandi Parkhurst.
Yeah.
So you got a pretty good following and you get a lot of views. Do you get a lot of just like direct messages from people from that and just wanting your help, or people that, hey, I saw you online and you sound like you look like the girl for me?
I get a good amount. It's really interesting too because I'll post something about, okay, we have this specific loan program, and then people who it doesn't even apply to their situation, that's their in to ask me a question and start the conversation. So that's awesome. But I think the bigger benefit is when someone does refer me, they're Googling me, so they want to know who I am, mm-hmm. where I work, what I do, what my personality is like, and they can get a really good feel for that with my social media because I'm the same online as I am in person.
So it builds a lot of credibility for you.
Oh, definitely. And I've had people come in, they're like, oh, I got your name off a list of 3 and I Googled you and you're the girl for me. I just love you. I'm
nice.
Like, oh, I love you too. Okay, great.
Have you met referral partners through doing content as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's huge because it positions me as someone who knows what I'm doing and allows me to provide content that would be good for their clients as well. So they can share, and then I can help teach them too. I've been doing content now for a couple of years, and so I can help teach them and we can work on content together. And so it's also the piece of building that relationship to help grow their business too.
Sure. I think I saw a video or something you did a course class for CPAs.
Yes.
So is that someone that you target as as a referral partner, as CPAs, and that's what you're doing that for?
Yes. So CPAs, financial advisors, trust attorneys. Really, my goal with my client experience is to create a full-fledged financial team, and that means working together with their tax advisor and their legal representation, their insurance agent. It is all a cohesive strategy. Right, because real estate is a way to build wealth and mm-hmm. ideally financial freedom. So when you have all those partners working together, and when I know CPAs and trust attorneys that are amazing, then I can refer to them, they can refer to me, and we all know we have the same goal in mind to help elevate the client and help get them to that end goal. Absolutely.
All right. You mentioned that you've wanted to be in real estate since you were young. Yes. So that's another, no one grows up saying they want to be a mortgage officer, but even less people grow up saying I want to be in real estate. Right? So how did that happen? Why were you thinking that way?
Truthfully, I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I just know I've always loved the idea of, I didn't even know the words passive rental income, but I was like, they pay your mortgage and then you have a house. Duh. It
just seems so obvious.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
So I just knew. So I actually bought my first rental property when I was 25 with my brother. So, and I didn't even have a primary residence. I bought a rental property first.
Awesome.
And
yes.
Yeah, I just knew I wanted to build wealth that way.
So how many rentals are you up to now?
So back down to 0.
Okay.
So I ended up selling that one in November, attempted to do a 1031 exchange, couldn't identify a property within the time period.
Yeah.
But it was a great learning experience. I actually did identify a property, and then during that 180 window to close, mm-hmm. due to inspections, I was like, this isn't going to pencil the way that I hoped it would. So I ended up canceling and paying the taxes. So
I'm sure there's a lot of people that have that question too, what happens when you fail to complete a 1031? I mean, they hold your money for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I actually just got my money last week.
Oh, wow.
From my sale in November.
Wow.
So, Yeah.
It's like a punishment that they're like, all right, cool, you don't get access to this for a bit.
Well, it was hilarious. I emailed my 1031 rep and I was like, can I have my money now? I need to, pay my... You have to file an extension if you haven't completed your 1031 from the prior year. So I had to file a tax extension, pay the, estimated tax bill so I didn't get liabilities there, but still didn't have access to my proceeds. So I was like, that's a lot.
Oh, man.
But anyway, yeah, so they hold the funds for a while because they don't consider the properties being sold as reasons that you cannot still buy them. So like, we just keep your money for the 180 days and then give it back.
Oh my goodness. So you finally got it back.
Yeah.
Are you looking to deploy that into real estate?
I am. Yes. Right now I'm in a little bit of a discovery phase. I definitely have always loved the long-term rental idea, but I'm considering more of the Airbnb strategy and kind of just doing research and keeping my mind open to what will be next. And in the meantime, I'm just taking advantage of the high yield savings accounts that are available right now. Yeah,
there you go. So what kind of, with where rates are at right now, that plays a big role into the kind of returns you can get. Like where are you seeing opportunity?
Yeah, that is a great question. And I think it really depends on each person. I'm very interested at this point in cash flow. And so I'm looking at investments as in, okay, what kind of cash flow could I be looking at in the short term? I think later, right, I'm trying to acquire properties now. Later might pivot to, okay, I want to invest more in things that I think might have even higher rates of appreciation. But for now, I'm kind of analyzing on that cash flow basis. Are
you looking at single family still?
Single family, yeah. I'm really considering the Airbnb or even the traveling nurse model. But yeah, definitely I'm looking for an investment I can buy and hold. Yeah, probably in the single family or small multifamily section.
And are you looking locally or are you just looking everywhere?
That I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm really keeping my eyes peeled. I think it probably will be out of state. Reno is a great market for appreciation, but with the current interest rates, it's a little harder to find cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe like after 5 or 10 years.
Or if you find something that you can force appreciation. I think there is still a ton of opportunity here for the right deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keeping your eyes out.
Definitely. And I have my primary residence here, and I'm definitely planning to hold that long term. But for now, it's just keeping my eyes peeled.
So how is, with the real estate slowdown that has been talked about a lot, is that occurring here? Are you seeing a big slowdown in purchases recently compared to the last couple of years?
We did see a bit of a slump, I would say like second half of last year, which would be second half of 2022. This year, we're seeing it start to ramp up quite a bit. So we saw a home price decline, median home price decline of approximately 10%, but from January this year, we're up 10% from January. So we're really trending upward quickly compared to the little slump that we had.
Yeah, sure. Is the supply of homes still pretty low?
Oh yeah, we have a drastic shortage of homes.
So it still sounds like a pretty good time to buy, honestly.
Oh yeah, like I said, Reno is a huge market for appreciation, right? Because we have approximately one home available per 1,000 people in our area. And we have a ton of local demand. We have about 52,000 renters who could buy, who just haven't yet. So just the amount of houses that we have is not even close to what we need. So our home prices have gone up quite a bit the past couple of years, which is making it hard. It's hurting affordability. So, but again, that supports home price appreciation. Sure.
Are you running into, is it more difficult, the underwriting process now, would you say, with, I don't know, just with in mortgages, I feel like the whole industry changes like every 6 months to a year, it seems like, at least like the underwriting guidelines. So, recently, have you found it tougher to qualify buyers, or is it just a function of, and if you are, is it a function of just higher interest rates making it tougher to, income qualify them, or are you seeing it like tougher in other ways as well?
Yes. So interest rates have made an impact on clients' ability to qualify. As far as underwriting goes, we have seen it loosen up quite a bit. So during COVID, the restrictions for self-employed borrowers and the P&L bank statement reconciliation, and there was just a lot of extra requirements for continued verification of employment and making sure all the documents are, in line, and verify this PPP loan and all these things. So that's definitely loosened up a ton. So yeah, I would say things are kind of going back to normal.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for home buyers.
Mm-hmm.
So you are seeing just a smaller pool of home buyers as well because of those rates.
Yeah, it is. And that's where, a lot of times we just have to get a little creative. Like, okay, well, maybe we do consider a co-signer option, or maybe we get a little creative with the down payment assistance program, or there are definitely still ways to make it happen. And even if someone is a ways out, if it's credit or income, I'm here to coach them from now until however long it takes.
Sure. Yeah. Are you seeing a lot of sellers out here help like with the buy down the rate or pay their closing costs too?
That was really popular like the end of last year and beginning of this year. It's becoming harder to find as our market is heating up, and it's just becoming harder to get a seller credit. But yes, the 2-1 buy down and some of those like even permanent buy downs were really popular, and we're still doing it. I actually just had a client with a pretty sizable seller credit for a 2-1 buy down within the past 2 months. So it's still happening. It's just a little more rare.
Probably still less rare than it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, though. I imagine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Seller credits were not nearly as big of a thing 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
As they are now.
They're non-existent.
Yeah.
Yeah. No more paying over appraised value. Lots of benefits to being a buyer right now.
Yes. There's a lot more negotiating power because there's just not quite as much demand as there was 2 years ago. So it's definitely a great time to, get in, especially if you can get some of those seller concessions, get in, start building the equity, capitalize on that appreciation that we're predicting.
So what are you saying to buyers that are really, I hear a couple common things. Rates are too high, I'm going to wait for them to come down. Prices are too high, I'm going to wait for them to come down. How are you dealing with that? What are you saying? It's
kind of you could, bite your nose off to spite your face, because it's, likely that, no one can time the market, right? So obviously you want to, in a perfect world, buy at the bottom, but how do you know it's the bottom? Until prices start going back up. When they start going back up, everyone's like, oh. And then everyone is going to start buying because now we're at the bottom and now competition's crazy. So it's kind of a, how do you want to time this? Can you buy and get a good deal and really make the deal in having good terms from the seller? Get a good deal. Maybe it's just before the bottom, but maybe it works for you. Maybe it's the right house. And, then you're capitalizing on all that appreciation on the upside. So I always tell people they should buy when it makes sense for them, and absolutely. Not because of the market. Yeah.
It'll be worth more one day.
Oh, definitely. Real estate always goes up over time.
Yeah. And I think the interest rate on rent is like 100%.
I've heard something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, Sandi, if someone wants to work with you and your bubbly personality, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, my Instagram is a great place to connect with me. My website, sandiparkhurst.com. Shocker.
It's a good one.
Yeah, so I'm online pretty much all over the place.
It's incredible how few loan officers are actually doing content. It's like I barely ever see it. So I'm glad I got the chance to sit down with you and just kind of chat with you and help contribute to that content. And really appreciate you having me in here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to do this with you. I really appreciate it.
Cool.